So basically, first or second week of beta, right? I am in Deep Home, trying to grind those mobs solo, and I'm like, I'm calling Holy Death. You guys know Holy Death. I'm calling Holy Death, and I'm telling him, like, bro, I actually don't know what to do. Like, my strat is decent, but I need to get level 82. That's annoying. Blah blah blah. And then he said, well, show me, or I think he said, how did Athene get world first? And then I am basically coming to Twilight Highlands to go to Athene. I am flying right here. Right here I'm flying. And I decide to randomly stop. And I'm like, wow, there's 7 mobs here. I mean, there's no way it's worth it. Wait, why are these mobs attackable? It's alliance mobs. Why are they attackable? And I'm like, I'm doing this, right? I'm thinking, well, these mobs are hitting pretty hard, but I mean... And then I see them respawning instantly, and I'm like, oh my god. So, first, I wanted to go world first on Feral Druid. Because, you know, Feral Druid swipe was bugged. It was doing twice more damage than usual, than it's supposed to, because of poor normalization. So I wanted to do Feral Druid world first. Then, after seeing the amount of whining in Druid Discord about poor normalization being bugged, and there is no way Blizzards are going to keep it, I've decided to race on a DK. I've decided to race on DK. So after practicing this spot on DK, I'm like, well, I think Red Paladin is actually better. By the way, meanwhile, I'm gearing all those characters in GDKP and buying items for gold. So then I'm like, well, I think Paladin is going to be better. Let me get a real quick Shadowmourne on my Paladin. I'm getting Shadowmourne on DK and Shadowmourne on Paladin, just for this. And I leveled Paladin to... geared Paladin, and I practiced Paladin. Paladin was the best. Paladin was even better than Early Shaman. But then, beta happened, like beta raid testing. Only 2 weeks ago, I've decided to go Shaman. Because I've seen, for some reason, I thought, before even logging on Shaman, that Chain Lightning does have a 3.5 second cooldown. But as soon as I saw that it doesn't have cooldown, I'm like, well, it's possible to do World First on this character, actually. Because I didn't want to play Paladin, and I really wanted to do World First on Shaman. Even though Paladin could probably be better. Like, for example, after Blizzard fixed the spot, on Paladin, I would probably do the spot in here, like 10 million experience per hour, I would probably. Maybe 9. On Shaman, I was only doing 6. So I've decided to go Shaman after, and then I'm like, well, let me think, what can boost me the most? So, we're using Spell Power Totem, right? Spell Power Totem. We're using Mage for Spell Power buff and Intellect. We're using Paladin for Might. We're using Druid for Kings. On top of that, 2 Druids are throwing Torrents on me. 1 Druid is full attack power build. 1 Druid is full spell power build. And they are throwing Torrents on me one by one. Basically, Torrents, they do 2k damage every time this mob hits me. And on top of that, it's my damage. So it's counted. You know, you need to do 50% of mob HP to get full experience. So it counts to that. So basically, other classes are reducing the amount of HP that I need to do on mobs. And basically, 2 druids were using Torrents on me. On top of that, I had a mage to duel Warlock. So Warlock would stay right here, and he would duel the mage that would stay right here. And Warlock would use Curse of Elements on the mage that is mob tagging me, and all mobs were affected by Curse of Elements. All mobs were affected by Curse of Elements. I don't think anyone have ever used this, bro. This tic-tac. Created by me, bro. No one actually helped me. On top of that, then I realized, wait, I have this buff. What the fuck is this buff? And then I'm like, I mean, if you move out, I'm not gonna move out, but basically this buff is this PvP event from the flag, and I only figured it out like 3 days ago. So I figured out that we need to do this PvP event before we come to this zone. So people like those 3 dudes were doing PvP event before I came here. So I get 1000 spell power buff. This buff gives me 1000 spell power and 400 attack power. So while I was turning quests and I was getting summoned by 8 warlocks in Wrath of Lich King, and I was turning all the quests, I think I turned everything in 11 minutes. People were doing PvP event here. They got the buff, 1000 spell power, and then they summoned me. That's basically the full tic-tac. There was obviously more to it. This is not the only spot that I've tested. I've tested a lot of shit. I've tested this. I've tested Uldum many spots. I've tested Athene spot, but Athene spot didn't give a lot of experience. I've tested these mobs, and these mobs apparently were so bugged that if you kill the main structure, like the tank, if you kill the tank, you get like all these mobs. They get one-shotted, and you get full experience. So basically, you kill the tank, you get I don't know, like 35k experience just by killing one tank. But it's still not better than what I was doing. But they were respawning crazy. So this was my second spot. This was my plan B. I came here, Blizzard fixed it. And then I'm like, well, I guess I'm not getting World First. But you know, never give up. And I went to Uldum. No, not Uldum. Deepholm. And I was doing that spot, basically. So... And yeah, that's basically it. My preparation, it might sound like it's insane. I mean, you don't even, like, I probably spent like 1 million gold gearing my characters. On top of that, parallel, I was playing retail, and anyways. The thing is that my prep for World First of Wrath was so much more than this. Like, if you think this is crazy, like, I've never told you a story what I did for Wrath World First, and that was 10 times more complicated. That was literally 10 times more complicated. So yeah, that's basically the story about this, how I figured out this spot, how I figured out which buffs I want to use. And yeah, that's basically it. And 5 different characters that I decided to swap for World First. Well, my first initial World First thought would be Warlock. And then it went to DK, sorry, Feral Druid, then DK, then Paladin, then Shaman. So 5 classes I've tried.